Yes, hello once again. I'm Max Ratt, and welcome to the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. Yes, so it's July 19th, 2013. I'm coming to you live from the Rat Hole in New York City. My last show, we discussed the Snowden snow job, and I more or less tried to show you, I thought I rather made it clear that this is a nonsensical media rollout story. And then if you're following it since the show, you'll see that there's just constant. It just continues on and on. I mean, he's apparently still hiding in the airport in Moscow, even though nobody's seen him. He's invisible. I would argue that if somebody is invisible, that usually means because they don't exist, which is exactly what's going on here. It's a moral story, and it accompanies all the other stupid stories about people who don't exist and about media fabrications, such as this stupid Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman fake trial. Trayvon Martin doesn't exist at all, never did. George Zimmerman is an actor playing a role as some shooter, murderer, vigilante, whatever you want to call him, or neighborhood watchman, if you will. All of that's to divide you and to get the people bickering amongst each other while your pension is stolen and your value of your home is stolen, and while your children are burdened with unpayable student loan debt and things like that. You know, nobody's worried about that. Maybe everybody's worried about a stupid trial made up, contrived in the media, and presented to you for your moronic TV worshiping consumption. Okay, and so I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm not going to do even a show on that, because you're just going to you're going to have to either look into it yourself and figure it out for yourself, or take my word on it that that's a made up, stupid, contrived story to divide you while you get you pocket picked or worse. Another stupid story that's in the news just the last couple of days is this the Rolling Stone. They're like, the Rolling Stone magazine, they're gonna take it off the shelves in CVS and Walgreens or something, because they're going to show a picture of the Russian, or the so-called Russian Boston bomber. And as you know, if you listen to my Boston bombing show, there was no bombing in Boston, so there are no bombers. So that's made up too. That's a little more garbage for you to diddle with, while there are more pressing issues that I think people should be paying attention to. And obviously, they are not. Okay. So on that note, we're going to start this show. This show is going to be called. This show is about Egypt. I thought that was something that was rather significant. The name of the show, the title of the show, is going to be Egypt: Portrait of a World Government Takeover, and I'm going to explain that for you in detail in the show. Welcome aboard. I'm live from the Rat Hole in New York City. It's July 19th, 2013. We're doing the show on Egypt today. Welcome aboard. Thanks for listening. Let's start the show.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
You know, I still can't get over the fact that 24 hours ago I was in an Egyptian tomb. I didn't know any of you wonderful people. And here I am now. I'm on the verge of a madcap Manhattan weekend.
Yes, Commissioner?
The worst has come to pass, Batman.
I know. King Tut is back in Gotham City. We'll be right there. To the vet post.
Hey, that was quite a rant there. You know, we're looking for an everyman to rant about petty, nonsensical irritants to replace our Spotlight on the Middle East segment.
You know, we're looking for someone to rant about petty, nonsensical irritants to substitute for our Spotlight on the Middle East segment. Because people are more interested in nonsensical rants about petty garbage than they would be about the Middle East, or Spotlight on the Middle East segment. So there you go. There you have it. And speaking of petty, nonsensical rants, how about this one? This is your man Glenn Beck right off the bat. He's talking about Egypt.
The rights group says that the latest attacks follow an all too familiar pattern since mass protests began. A few men force a girl or a woman away from the people she's with, rip off her clothes, and then assault her. Passerbys join in on the attacks, which range from a groping to gang rape that have lasted more than an hour in the public square.
Okay, so there's your journalism from Glenn Beck, who's apparently got a substantial following. They pay him lots of money apparently as well. I know people who think, Max, he's not, I know you probably don't like him, but show's kind of cool. And one guy says, well produced and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So he's going to depict the people in Tahrir Square are gang raping women, okay, for an hour, like somebody's timing it while they gang rape them. And so Egyptians are basically just, they just gang rape people, and if they walk by, they see you raping somebody, they'll just jump in and, for pardon my French, they'll take their dick out and bang her too. Yeah, that's what they do in Egypt, I guess, in public for an hour. And and they have great stamina in Egypt for whatever reason. They must be taking Viagra or something over there. But and on that note, if you don't take Viagra and if you have an erection for more than 4 hours, call the doctor, okay? That's what they tell you on the Viagra ads. But anyway, so they're gang raping women in Tahrir Square, according to Glenn Beck. That's your nonsensical, petty rant, if you will.
The rights group says that the latest attacks follow an all too familiar pattern since mass protests began. A few men force a girl or a woman away from the people she's with, rip off her clothes, and then assault her. Passerbys join in on the attacks, which range from a groping to gang rape that have lasted more than an hour in the public square.
Okay, and that's there you go. If you believe in that and you're working with that type of stuff, or is that your news source, then God bless you. Good luck with that. Okay, if that's your news source, then good for you. Good for you. And I don't have millions of listeners like Glenn Beck does, but I guess you're more interested in him telling you about gang rapes in Tahrir Square during the protests than you are about anything with Ratt. That's true. Okay, so there you go, folks.
Hey, that was quite a rant there. We're looking for an everyman to rant about petty, nonsensical irritants to replace our Spotlight on the Middle East segment.
This is a regime replacement. It is not an alternative neither to the Morsi government nor to the previous government of Hosni Mubarak. From my standpoint, they are, with some nuances, they are very similar because they are obeying the orders of a proxy regime, and they are faithfully fulfilling the corporate opening up of the Egyptian economy to foreign investors and so on. And that's what matters to the United States and its allies. It's a neo-colonial policy which in effect is restructuring Egypt as a territory within the region. And that is what is ultimately very disturbing.
Okay, so a restructuring of the of Egypt within the regionalizing them, and basically is what he's saying is taking away their sovereignty, and that's in the, he called it American and their allies' interest. I would argue that that's the America is basically a proxy for the world government, and that we're the bulldog that seems that we're being, they use our military and our tax money to implement these world governments. And so now Egypt's on the block, okay? And just like you saw in Europe with Greece and Italy and with these technocratic, unelected, appointed dictators who are there to basically saddle the populace with a massive debt that they don't owe, that they never owed, that they never had anything to do with, and say, oh yeah, you owe us this money, and then have a corrupt politician who's seemingly administering that to that debt, which is these unelected technocrat, and who's appointed by the same people who are doing the robbing and the world government implementation and the evisceration of sovereignty for all nation states. So here we go with Egypt now. Egypt's North Africa. It's the largest Arab population. So here we go with them. We're going to make them into a regional territory for the world government to rob and administrate and tell them, okay, you guys have to pay now. You're going to dedicate your life to paying taxes and begging for electricity and water and gas and energy. And you're going to be a slave to the to an unelected world dictatorship run out of the United Nations with the Queen of England and the Rockefellers. Okay, and that should be lots of fun for you guys, and that's what this is all about. They're staging this revolution. Of course, there's people out there who believe they're protesting for a reason, but this is all being manipulated from the same group of people, the same office. I'm going to go into that and show that to you as we go. So we're regionalizing them into territories.
My government will ensure the security, good governance, and development of the overseas territories.
Okay, Queen of England says my government will oversee the security of the overseas territories, and just for the record, Egypt is use their monetary denomination is called the Egyptian pound. So they already know the Queen very well over there, and let's and you know what? Apparently, so do we.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me and raise your glasses as I propose a toast. To Her Majesty, the Queen, for the vitality of the special relationship between our peoples, and, in the words of Shakespeare, to this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, to the Queen.
To the Queen. Bless you, Your Majesty. And I guess the Queen is a subject, so I guess we must be her loyal subject. I know apparently Obama is. Good for you. Good for us. Okay, we are really, you know what? And this show is going to be a lot about democracy and the new democracy. The new democracy is totalitarian dictatorship. The new democracy is unelected technocrat criminals. Okay, stealing your money. That's liberal. It's a new liberal democracy. And here, you heard. Oh, yep, I did say liberal, but you're going to see why. Keep it going on the show.
Your Majesty.
It's good to be the king.
And I did say liberal. Let's just straighten that out right here and now. That I don't buy into any of that. I'm a liberal. I'm a Democrat. I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. That's all garbage for morons to divide you and to make you think you have some sort of choice, and then to make you adhere to that choice, almost like it's your favorite team. You're like, yeah, man, I'm backing the liberals. I'm on the liberal team. That's my team, man. And we're gonna. And so they're gonna twist that for you, because everybody in the Northeast, we're all proud to be liberal Democrats, and we're gonna twist it for you on this show and show you how that's going to be used to bring you under control into the global government with as a totally moronic TV worshipping slave, unless you wake up. But let's keep it going. Sorry for the edge, but that's the way it goes here. Let's keep it going on the show.
Slaves are wealth, Commander. The more slaves we have, the more bricks we make.
Okay, slaves are wealth. That was the Pharaoh in Ten Commandments. He said slaves are wealth, and the more slaves we got, the more bricks we make. So, you need slaves. And
my government will ensure the security, good governance, and development of the overseas territories.
Okay, I'm going to ensure the good governance, whatever that means. And her government, her queen, old queen's government, okay? Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Your Majesty. And I guess, you're going to ensure the good governance of the overseas territories. And so now I'll do a quick little thing with, all the movies that's set in the future are of all throughout all pop culture are every movie we're in a totalitarian dictatorship with a world government, and the people are just absolute slaves to a ridiculous, stupid, and bumbling world government that is just totally twisted. So on that note, so we got overseas territories. We're trying to convert Egypt into a territory, and here's a future movie.
You are now in the year 2173. Now, this is the central parallel of the American Federation. This district is what you probably call the southwestern United States.
Okay, so in 200 years from 1973, which is 2173, in the movie Sleeper, the Woody Allen movie, I played that clip before. Yeah, we're in a federated territory or Southwest territory or whatever he said, but we're not. We have a global government and there's no states anymore or cities. Okay, it's all regionalized and you know what? And you think, wow, that's a movie and it's 200 years from now. But how about this? How about it's happening already right now as we speak? And this is not just happening in America; it's happening globally. And this Egypt thing is part of the global plan. We have our own American plan, or North American plan, or hemispheric plan for inventorying everything that moves, whether it's people, it's resources, things like that. And it's all part of this United Nations Agenda 20 running out of the Rockefeller-controlled, Queen of England-controlled, Western criminal. Global government crowd controlled United Nations, and we're doing Agenda 21. So they're just prepping everything and package everything just right so we can put them as components into the global government structure. And so in a movie 200 years ago we already had regional territories, but
You've got your local regions within your states and sometimes breaking the borders, and then you've got 11 mega regions in the United States. You thought you had 50 states, but no you don't. Now you have 11 mega regions, and you can go to America2050.org if you want to check that out.
Okay, so we got 11 mega regions, no more states in the United States, and if you think that's kidding, check it out yourself.
It's a neo-colonial policy, which in effect is restructuring Egypt as a territory within the region, and that is what is ultimately very disturbing.
You know, we don't have cities like New York anymore.
Really, no cities at all?
No, but I went to the university at a population center.
You went to a university? It's hard to believe. For what?
Cosmetics, sexual technique, and poetry.
Right, and that's what we'll be studying. Hey, the pretty girls will be studying cosmetic sexual technique, and poetry, which is very nice. That's the new, that's the future. The future is just a utopian world of, where the girls will know how to do it and stuff, and then they'll read your little poetry, and everything will be fine and dandy. There's no cities anymore. No, just population centers and interesting intellectual courses in the university.
I've come in search of the Purple Rose of Cairo. It's an old legend that's fascinated me for years. A pharaoh had a rose painted purple for his queen, and now the story says purple roses grow wild at her tomb.
Yeah, but just purple roses grow wild in the pharaoh's tomb, in the Cleopatra's tomb, or in Cairo, or whatever, and everything's just fine, and Americans are very focused on what matters too, and listen, I like to have a good time and have fun too, but this is all going on right in front of us. Let's keep it going.
Normally, I wouldn't come to the aid of an American. Your country's foreign policy is despicable, your culture is crude, and your gluttony and greed make me sick.
You are so hot.
Keep it going.
Ultimately, what the United States action involved is not it was essentially to ensure that this protest movement doesn't get out of control, and the coup d'etat is ultimately intended to manipulate the protest movement and prevent the accession of a real people's government. Morsi was not a people's government.
I absolutely do not want to hear about it, Harold. This world is so full of wonderful things. What makes people suddenly go berserk and hate everything anyway? I mean, why does there have to be an underground? After all, there's the orb, and there's the telescreen, and there's the orgasmatron. What more do they want?
It's hard for us to understand the criminal element. We're artists. We respond only to beauty.
Oh, yes, I know.
All right, so she's like, we got the orb. The orb is like a drug. It's like a mechanical drug ball that they call the orb in the movie. So we got the orb, the telescreen, and and the orgasmatron, which is like a sex machine that they have. So she's like, well, I don't know why anybody would have a problem, would be mad at, what's wrong? We got everything we need. We got the telescreen, the drugs, and the orgasmatron. And he's like, and he's like, the criminal element is like upset about this. Yeah, the criminal. So in other words, if you don't like being a stupid slave with watching, with a telescreen and an orb and orgasmatron, then you're a criminal element in the future as well. And she's like, I don't know what the problem with everything is. Play that again.
I absolutely do not want to hear about it, Harold. This world is so full of wonderful things. What makes people suddenly go berserk and hate everything anyway? I mean, why does there have to be an underground? After all, there's the orb, and there's the telescreen, and there's the orgasmatron. What more do they want?
It's hard for us to understand the criminal element. We're artists. We respond only to beauty.
Oh, yes, I know.
Just call him Justin Bieber. Bieber and Selena Gomez attended a pool party on July 4th in the Hollywood Hills. And as you can see, the 19-year-old is drinking a Dos Equis beer.
How dare he, a 19-year-old drinking a Dos Equis, a Mexican beer of all things. What, this guy, what a traitor, man. I'm very concerned about that. Very. Yeah, and then, then we get here's a former Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, William Cohn, with some very, very nonsensical Egyptian information too. Yeah, but it's all good, It's all good. Here we go. Here's what we're getting out of the former Secretary of Defense. A very intelligent comment about the ancient African proverb that we all know.
And the Egyptian people have to come to the realization, the old African proverb, when elephants fight, only the grass suffers. The Egyptian people are now, the grass is being trampled on between one elephant and the other.
Okay, Egyptian people are being trampled by a bunch of elephants. That's the old ancient African proverb. And that is, if you're an Egyptian, don't get trampled by elephants, I guess. Yeah, and that's William Cohn, former Secretary of Defense, with that's good, solid journalism and good, very intelligent conversation about Egypt. He's like, Egyptian people are basically getting trampled by the old elephant proverb.
And the Egyptian people have to come to the realization, the old African proverb, when elephants fight, only the grass suffers. The Egyptian people are now, the grass is being trampled on between one elephant and the other.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of quality journalism following this Egypt case. This is the good stuff. It's just, along the same lines as the George Zimmerman trial and the Rolling Stone being pulled off a fake bomber's picture being put on Rolling Stone magazine, and they're going to argue about pulling it off. So we'd have a false debate about that. Then we're really focused on what matters, So yeah, so now. Good old Democracy Now!, who's a bastion of democracy, obviously, because they have democracy in their name, and anybody who hears that is like, oh, I believe, I'm down with Democracy Now! Because I'm a liberal Democrat from New York and wearing Birkenstocks, and I'm down with the new liberal democracy, which we're going to get to in a second. So anyway, here's a guy telling you how the military of Egypt, and I heard another news clip, which I didn't bother to clip, but where they were saying the same thing, where apparently the Egyptian military has a lot of side businesses. I'm not sure how that quite works. I'm like, so they have like their own they have their own industry. The Egyptian military. I'm not sure how that would work, but that's what they're telling us, and that's what they seem to know on Democracy Now! Here we go.
Popular backlash against Morsi's rule on the streets of Egypt on June 30th forced the military to step in because it threatened instability, a state collapse, and that in turn threatened the military's economic privileges, which range, they manufacture macaroni and fertilizer, tablet, laptops, you name it. So that's the situation right now that we're seeing.
Okay, so the Egyptian military intervened not to squash or bring in the new squash democracy or bring in the new liberal democracy. No, they had to move in because their side business of manufacturing macaroni, fertilizer, which I'm going to say probably means bullcrap, okay, and laptops and tablets. They're in the Egyptian. I was just using my new laptop manufactured by the Egyptian military. It's wonderful. and I'm eating a little bit of pasta. I'm eating some mac and cheese from the Egyptian military too. They're manufacturing all kinds of good stuff, at good old Egyptian military. I'm not sure if you would think that's nonsensical, but if that's not nonsensical enough, here's more quality journalism from CNN. I wonder what old Secretary of State Kerry, John Kerry, is doing. I heard he's like slacking off on the job or something like that, according to CNN. Let's see what's going on with that, and let's see how. And this is very, important information too, because when we're reporting on Egypt, we don't want to hear anything about the Egyptian people or about their struggle or about who's in charge or where they're going with the revolution. No. We need to hear about some garbage about Kerry's slacking off on the job. Well, here you go. So here's I'm going to let this one play just to show you how CNN's really focused on the important stuff.
Secretary Kerry came back from a trip, as you mentioned, 12 days, big, long international trip. He heads
big, long international trip, and he made an important phone call, whatever that means, just some vague, and she's like, I'm reporting, I heard he made an important phone call. Whatever that is, okay, to the Situation Room. Anyway, let me play it again, play it through, I'll shut up, but this is what the American people consumer, the American news consumer is gobbling down. This is good stuff. So now you can argue about like some garbage about whether you think John Kerry is slacking off or doing his job properly, and we won't. We'll throw Egypt in the verbiage, but we won't. It'll have nothing to do with Egypt at all. But that's the way we like it here. Just give me some bull crap, and I'll gobble it down.
Secretary Kerry came back from a trip, as you mentioned, 12 days, big, long international trip. He heads for Washington, and then as soon as he lands, or very quickly after that, he heads for Nantucket. Now, on Nantucket, he has a boat, a very nice one, and you can see it in this CBS picture. CBS producer was on the spot. Producer noticed Secretary Kerry, yelled out something about Morsi. There was no reply, but then that producer began tweeting about it. Now that day, Secretary Kerry did make a lot of phone calls, and there was an important one, a conference, a meeting at the White House at the Situation Room with President Obama and other senior officials. And so the implication was that he was basically phoning it in from his boat. Thursday, Jen Psaki, who's the spokesperson for the State Department, denied that he was on any boat. She said, quote, any report or tweet that he was on a boat is completely inaccurate.
Was he on a boat or not? That's the debate now. You know what? And like that, either that matters at all. But he was calling. Do you believe he was calling in to the Situation Room while they had a situation over there from his boat? Do you believe how? And that'll get the Obama bashers out there like, yeah, I can't believe these people wasting our tax money. Oh yeah, they're not stealing it. They're not. Yeah, there's we're wasting money. I bet you it was long distance phone calls too. I bet you he even called from I bet you he called from an expensive roaming charge or something like that too. Whatever, some garbage about that's what just any nonsensical garbage.
You're not dealing with morons here.
No.
Today, Friday, there was basically an oops from Jen Psaki, and she said while he was briefly on his boat on Wednesday.
And so the State Department has their own spokesperson because Kerry, I guess, can't even speak for himself now, and Jen Psaki, who she's like, oh no, he wasn't on his boat. No, I denied that. Oops. And she's like, yeah, this is very important about it. We're really getting a lot of information on Egypt in this story. Thanks, CNN.
Today, Friday, there was basically an oops from Jen Psaki, and she said while he was briefly on his boat on Wednesday, Secretary Kerry worked around the clock all day. Psaki says that the secretary did make a lot of phone calls concerning Egypt, and that he was on that call, a conference call, phoning in to the White House, to the Situation Room. But one official says none of those calls were from the boat. So the upshot of this basically is State Department.
One official said, like, whoever that is, okay?
Is saying he was fully engaged, but he was fully engaged from that beautiful vacation spot of Nantucket. John?
Okay, so he was fully engaged. I promise from Nantucket, like whatever. Yeah, and we had nothing. I'm CNN, nothing to do with Egypt. But if you want to argue about if Kerry's doing his job properly, he shouldn't be making phone calls from his boat. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. And Justin Bieber drank a dose of Mexican beer, and he's only 19 years old. That's outrageous to me. That's just outrageous to me. And the Egyptian military is losing their macaroni manufacturing business, man. They're losing money on that thing, man. That's outrageous to me. We're in a lot of trouble here.
We have figured it out. Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again.
I'm talking about someplace completely different, like Morocco or Egypt.
Ooh, boat trip down the Nile sounds so romantic. I got just the dress to wear at the pyramids.
Right, so if we're going to talk about Egypt, we might as well talk about what to wear. If I was in Egypt, I guess I would wear, I'd wear my new Egyptian pith hat and like explorer outfit. I think that's trend. That might be trendy to wear. That you have to look into what the style is for visiting countries immersed in global government overtaking, guised in a revolution. Wonder what the new trendy outfit is for that. And and I hope my girl's wearing something for our trip down the when we ride down the Nile. Okay. So here's a little clip from 10 Commandments.
What will you wish for, Tuya? Gold or a man? Gold, of course.
Yeah, she's like, what do we use for gold or a man? She's like, gold, of course. And then she says after, I can get any man I want, That's, just stay in line, buddy.
All right, concentrate.
All right, here's a little preface to this clip. This is, this is from the Family Guy, Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda's talking to Luke Skywalker, so he's like, concentrate, Luke. He's going to teach him about the Force. Concentrate, Luke.
All right, concentrate. What do you see?
I see a woman draining your bank account and running off with a real estate agent.
That is a bitch, you see.
There you go. Keep going.
Man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light.
We're dealing with a protest movement which was manipulated in early 2011. It is being manipulated currently in the present context.
Indeed. They've only one suspicion. We'll let them drive the Turks out and then move in ourselves. I've told them that that's false, that we've no ambitions in Arabia. Have we?
I'm not a politician, thank God. Have we any ambition in Arabia, Dryden?
Difficult question, sir. I want to know, sir, if I can tell them in your name that we've no ambitions in Arabia.
Certainly.
Yeah, sure. What the fuck? He's like, can I tell them that we have no ambitions? Yeah, tell them anything you want. Well, who cares? I mean, we'll just tell them there. We'll just stick the Egyptian pound in there, but we have no ambitions in Arabia, or, we have no ambitions with the Suez Canal or the oil, or no. Just tell them anything. Tell them whatever we want. Tell them whatever we want. We'll be fine. They're a bunch of slaves anyway.
However, there are also other portions which completely reject the military as well as the Brotherhood. So it's a complicated scene. I think many people have been driven into the arms of the military, which is a stunning turnaround from just a year ago when the resounding call of the revolution was down with military rule. Now we have people calling for the military to step in and force this president from power.
Right, there's that should tip you off right there, because the reason for the whole revolution was because they had a military dictatorship under Mubarak, but now they're like a year later, like no, they're embracing the military now, because like no, everything's changed, and a year later now, oh yeah, the military's going to help us now, yeah, and that's really what the public sentiment, I'm sure. So they're, we're really supporting the military. Everything just changed and everything's fine. And like, and everything, they didn't co-opt the revolution and mislead it and manipulate it. No, of course not. And then, so everybody's down with the military, now.
Well, there's a very passionate flirtation going on now.
And it's sexual, too. Now, that's a passionate flirtation with the military. Passionate. Ooh, hot.
Well, there's a very passionate flirtation going on now between the people in the street and the military. Of course, there are dissident voices, and they are important voices that remind people that the military for a year killed us in the streets. But on the whole, the people are just embracing the military.
Okay, they killed us in the street last year, but now we're having a passionate flirtation, and we're embracing. It's like very hot. It's just very hot and sexy, man. This new passionate flirtation. Yeah, so what? They kill us in the streets, and so what if we start a whole revolution against the military dictatorship? But now we're hot for them. Now we're like in bed with them, so to speak. There you go.
Because the media all works together to make sure that you get the wrong message, which they'll tell you is the right one.
You're not dealing with morons here.
Oh no. And then, then Al Jazeera will tell you, like how, well, here you go.
CNN is a very good channel, and it brings the truth to us. So does Al Jazeera, despite what many Egyptians claim.
Okay, so the Egyptian person in the street's like, yeah, CNN's the greatest. I'm here to tell you about CNN. No, I'm not to tell you about my plight and my revolution. Just no, CNN's the greatest, and so's Al Jazeera. Yeah, they're not run by the same operation, the same world government, lying, propaganda pushers. Nah.
You can't.
No, I must. It is written.
Nothing is written.
No.
Both factions within the protest movement, the supporters of Morsi on the one hand, and the protesters, those who wanted the demise of the Muslim Brotherhood government, both these sections are supported by the same handlers, Western handlers.
Right, they're the manipulators and the people who create these and believe it or not, this entire even though there's millions of people in the streets, that's been organized by the same people who are playing both sides, okay, and their intent is to confuse everything, derail the emotion and the intent of the people to be free and to create a real government. No, and they're like, no, and they're going to be like, no, the military's going to take care of it for you now. The military will handle. Well, the military, let me just straighten things out for you. No, forget about elections. Elections didn't work out so good for us. Let's let's do a military dictatorship again. You know what? I'm sorry. What are you're complaining because we killed you in the streets last year? No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a new, improved military now. We're not the same old military. Why not? Just because we have the same people there and the same offices and the same everything else? No. We changed our ways now, and now so hop into bed with us, and we'll have a flirtatious, passionate relationship, and you can embrace us, and that's the way. And then we're gonna, everything's gonna work out fine for you guys. And we didn't know who told what. Somebody told what? Max told you that both sides are being manipulated by the same lying criminals. What? Don't listen to him. He's crazy.
Yeah, we have this trend now where instead of democratically elected governments controlling these countries, so-called technocrats. Central bankers are coming in, taking over as the prime ministers of governments.
Okay, so what happened in Greece with Papademos, happened in Italy with Mario Monti. These are unelected, appointed so-called technocrats, which are really just banking administrative frontmen who arrange to put on all kinds, slap the populace with all kinds of ridiculous debt that they don't owe, and they're gonna be like, and then now they're gonna be like, oh, sorry, we're gonna have to cut back on your water and your electric and you're gonna be broken. We're gonna steal your pension because you guys owe us money now, and I'm here unelected from the United Nations here to collect the debt and raise your taxes, okay, and tell you that your pension's gone. Sorry, sorry, you guys owe a lot of money now, and you got a bad economy, and if you don't like it, we'll turn your electric off and cut your water off and make you wait online for gasoline because we control all that too. So good for you, and just just get in line and let's prepare you for your component insertion into the North East African region of the New World Order global government. Okay, so good luck. Let's go and let's be happy and let's do this.
Former Finance Minister Hazem al-Biblawi was tapped to be the country's Prime Minister. The 76-year-old directed Egypt's Export Development Bank before serving on the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia.
Okay, he directed the Export Development Bank of Egypt, whatever that is, and then he was in the Western Asian whatever from United Nations. First of all, Egypt's not even in Asia, okay? It's in friggin' North Africa, but he's on the Western Asian Council, which is whatever the fuck that is. That's just some double speak for he's from the United Nations, and he's a puppet, and he's got a face and a name and a body, and we just stick him in there and tell you some garbage. And and I think he was with the Arab Bank too. No,
he also advised the Arab Monetary Fund in Abu Dhabi until he was asked to serve as finance minister during the transitional period that followed the ousting of President Hosni Mubarak.
Oh, so he advised the Arab Bank, so we can't check that either. Oh, great. So just take my word for it. He's a United Nations guy, and he's Egyptian. He's your boy. He's going to help you out real good.
Former Finance Minister Hazem al-Biblawi was tapped to be the country's Prime Minister. The 76-year-old directed Egypt's Export Development Bank before serving on the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia. He also advised the Arab Monetary Fund in Abu Dhabi until he was asked to serve as finance minister during the transitional period that followed the ousting of President Hosni Mubarak.
Okay, so we got our United Nations unelected technocratic banking criminal. We stuck him in there for you. And there you go. And that's thank the military who was killing you last year in the streets, and who started the revolution against. Thank them because I put them in there for you, just making sure everything's cool for you guys. Okay, got it?
We need global governance, global financial governance, and we need it fast.
Okay, that's Jean-Claude Trichet, and he's like, yeah, we need global governance, global financial governance fast, okay? And then, so we're going to stick in a unelected technocrat like we did in Greece and Italy, or we'll just rob everybody like we did in Ireland and Portugal and Spain, and that should work out great for the slaves. And, so we need global governance fast. Jean-Claude Trichet, he's now the head of the Bank of International Settlements, which is a central bank of central banks, and so he's really looking into your best interest. Like, we need global governance and global financial governance fast, okay, fast for who's we? Well, not you and me, but we meaning him and his criminal banking, criminal law stealing buddies. That's
what we have now is an interim caretaker government that was effectively appointed by the military. You had an interim president who then chose a prime minister. He's trying to put together a caretaker cabinet that's made up either of technocrats.
Okay, so we have a caretaker government. Yes, it's to take care of you, we'll take care of you. Let the father of the government take care of you. We're a caretaker government. We care because we care about you. And and it's not like, that's funny, but it's not just because we called the Greek technocratic unelected appointee Papademos, who robbed everybody in Greece's pension. He was taking care of. He took care of you guys over them. It's pretty good too.
And in the Financial Times, there's an article recently talking about the profile of Papademos, the prime minister, technocratic prime minister there, saying that he was heading up a caretaker government.
Oh yeah, so it's good for you guys. We're just taking care of you.
Inflation has been rising, public finances have been deteriorating, the currency has been on the slide and remains under enormous pressure. The aid money that's coming from outside will buy Egypt some time, will give it some space to begin to address those issues, but it won't fundamentally resolve them. Those imbalances have to be addressed by changes in domestic policy making, by cuts in public spending, and by increases in public revenues.
Right, so we're going to stick you with the IMF loan, and then we're going to tell you that we need to make some policy changes in your public spending and your revenue. We need to generate more revenue from you, which is taxes. So we're going to raise your taxes, and we're going to cut your public spending. We're going to cut your spending, raise your taxes. This is all just for your good. We're just taking care of you. We're taking care of you and making sure everything's going to be all good, right for you.
My government will bring forward legislation to create a simpler state pension system.
Oh yes, and and the Queen will take care of your pension. She's holding it for you. She's holding your pension for you, your money. Don't worry, it's fine. My government is in full control, taking care of it for you, and I'll just take care of your pension for you, and then we'll take good care. It's a caretaker type of thing.
My government will bring forward legislation to create a simpler state pension system.
It's good to be the king. Oh yeah, it's great to be the king, and my government will take care of that for you. My government, and we'll checking the security of the overseas territories.
They wanted somebody to come in place that is purely technocratic. So what they're really pushing for is that Egypt forms a purely technocratic interim government.
Yeah, everybody's pushing for a purely technocratic, purely unelected. That's what we're pushing for. That's what the people want. That's what we had a revolution for. So we can stick the military in there to appoint unelected technocrat bankers to rob them. That's what? This is great. This revolution's really working out beautifully, and it wasn't co-opted or manipulated by United Nations criminals. No, of course not. Of course not. That's why. Why would you say that? Why would you say that, Max? Because all those people aren't real, man. What do you think? That's not real, Max? No. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Okay, genius. You go bullshit around with me about that while I'm showing you right out that there's an unelected, technocratic, garbage puppet, banking puppet. They're appointed by the military, who the people were supposedly protesting against. Now they're in charge. We have a passionate love affair with them now, and we're appointing a criminal puppet to steal your money and your pension, and the Queen will take care of your pension for you on the overseas territories. Beautiful.
The Muslim Brotherhood government has accepted all the conditions which were imposed by the International Monetary Fund upon accession to the formation of a government, namely the application of strong economic medicine, which essentially is continuity in relation to the previous period.
Right, so we're just going to keep it moving right along. We already stuck you with an IMF loan that you'll never pay back. And, of course, we put in the IMF, we put in every IMF loan agreement that if you don't pay, which you won't, because basically we'll just say we lent you $10 billion or $5 billion, whatever, but we'll really just give that money out to our friends, and you'll never get to see a penny of it. Then we'll tell you owe it, and then when you don't pay, then we're going to say we're going to have to privatize your water and your electric and your energy and your food and everything else that controls you, so you can be regionalized and componentized into a plug-in for the world government totalitarian dictatorship that we have. We have a flirtatious, passionate love affair that we set up for you. So let's, what are you protesting for, man? What are you so angry about? Everything's going to be fine. You guys are going to be great. You guys are going to be beautiful little slaves, of course.
We support the adoption of reforms that can lead to an early IMF agreement while sustaining funding for social safety net programs.
Okay, so the Deputy Secretary of State Burns, American Secretary Deputy, he's Kerry's right-hand man, apparently. He's like, yeah, we're very happy about the securing this IMF loan to put the slaves into our global government indebtedness program, and we're, as an American official, I'm representing a global unelected government and not the American people, which is great too. Okay, and we're all doing this on American behalf, and like I got the Department of the Secretary of the State, Deputy Secretary of State, involved in some International Monetary Fund garbage. This is really going to work out good for us. It really is. Here we go.
We support the adoption of reforms that can lead to an early IMF agreement while sustaining funding for social safety net programs. We believe these measures offer a path to address the entirely justifiable aspirations of the revolution and realize the economic potential of Egypt and its people.
There you go. And, it's a purely justifiable purely justifiable revolution. We're not arguing with you guys. It's justifiable. You guys are it's justified. Just pay your IMF loan. Just pay what you owe. And you guys do your revolution. We're not arguing with you. It's justified. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, just okay. But that does, listen, the military, listen. We don't have to want to but start paying your money, or else we'll lock you up with the, with the embracement, with your passionate relationship with the military, will lock your slave ass up if you don't pay. That's all. And I'm representing America, and what that has to do with the American interests, I don't even know either. But that's because I'm parading as an American official when I'm really just representing a unelected shadow government that controls the United States government as well. But yeah, no, not crazy. Okay, there you go, Crazy Max again.
The choice of an economist as Prime Minister will likely help secure a long-awaited $4.8 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund.
Okay, so Biblawi, who is the new Prime Minister, is also a financial technocrat, and he's going to secure that $4.8 billion loan that the slaves of Egypt are going to have to pay and never pay back, and then sacrifice all their and sign away all their resources and all their social benefits and everything like that to the IMF, and everything's going to work out great for them.
Money. It has to be sovereigns. They don't like paper.
Right.
Okay, so back in the Lawrence of Arabia days, the Arabs didn't like paper. They only wanted gold. They only wanted sovereigns. But now we're going to give them paper with attached to interest-bearing paper, which should be really, they should be great. So not only are they not getting any money for anything, they're owing money for that, and that should be great for them. Good luck with you guys for that. Here we go.
Using the term fiscal consolidation for gutting public services and generating unemployment. All of this is Orwellian language, which is meant to obscure what is really going on, which is the takeover of democratic control, which, as you said, is already undermined by money, and putting it firmly in the hands of the financial.
Right, we'll just take over democratic control. We'll have that handed to us by the military, which we control and own, and everything's going to be fine.
Fascism is mega corporations taking over your government and shutting down their competition. Okay, that's what it is. The New World Order is a global fascist banking cartel takeover of the planet.
Egypt's interim government is starting to take shape. Mohamed El Baradei has been sworn in as interim vice president. Egypt's interim government is starting to take shape. Mohamed El Baradei has been sworn in as interim vice president.
Who is El Baradei, for instance? You do a little checking on him, you'd be quite surprised. The guy was an officer at the United Nations his whole life. So he's the guy that obviously they're going to set up to take over.
Oh, great! So we're going to put in El Baradei too, who's not even hasn't lived in Egypt for many years supposedly. He's a European, and he's working at the United Nations his whole goddamn life. But he's going to be but you know what? Let's just stick him in there as vice president, vice prime minister, whatever he is, and we'll stick in our other guy. So now we have two unelected people that are our boys, and they should administer to the Egyptian slaves. Fine.
The European Union's foreign policy chief is the latest international figure to visit Egypt's interim rulers to push for reconciliation. Catherine Ashton met interim Vice President Mohamed El Baradei.
Okay, so the European Union's like, okay, we're here to reconcile, let's make up. So I'll meet up with on my appointment, what the European Union representative needs to be there right now for is like, yeah, well, you're just gonna make sure you guys are running things properly because she's gonna give him a few orders, and he's gonna be like, yes sir, yes ma'am, because he's an apparatchik of the United Nations, which is the world government body included with the European Union, which is all part of the same criminal cabal.
The European Union's foreign policy chief is the latest international figure to visit Egypt's interim rulers to push for reconciliation. Catherine Ashton met interim Vice President Mohammed El-Baradei.
It's a beginning of global governance. It was easier, as I said, because of the crisis. And if something has been understood by the layman during this crisis, is that globalization is no more only a topic for lectures and conferences. That's a reality. We need this.
Thanks, Dominique Krauss-Kahn. We need this.
This whole process has been manipulated. The protest movement is infiltrated. Many sectors of the opposition to Morsi are, in fact, supported by U.S. foundations. And in turn, the Brotherhood is supported covertly by the United States and U.S. intelligence.
All right, and the Brotherhood is U.S. intelligence or is Western intelligence. It's not supported covertly. Okay, I don't know if they are anything except a intelligence front that parades as some sort of Muslim group, which they're not. Okay, and they're going to tell you that they've been around for 50 years, which I haven't seen any evidence of that at all. And then you're going to show you other evidence that shows you that this is all and this is all Orwellian new speak. Okay, where they're going to be like, yeah, you didn't know that happened 40 years ago. You're never going to be able to check it because the only place anybody ever checks anything now is on the internet, and the internet's already been scrubbed clean of all the of any information you're ever going to get to show you otherwise. So there you have it. The Muslim Brotherhood is all. This is all being is part of the plan. They're going to stick the Muslim Brotherhood in there in a fake election. Tell the people, oh, you voted for him, even though nobody in Egypt claims thinks they voted for the Muslim Brotherhood, and then they're going to say, then they're going to take them out with the military, which is what they were protesting against to begin with. Just that's in your face nonsense that so yeah, we didn't know, but you're right, they're not manipulating the people of Egypt. No.
There are many challenges ahead for Biblawi. Egypt is suffering from high unemployment, power cuts, and crippling fuel shortages.
Okay, so they're going to tell you that that the Egypt was so during the Morsi time when they wanted to make everybody agitate the population of Egypt, they're going to tell them they're going to start cutting their electricity and cutting their and giving them and making them wait online for gas for their cars, so to get them even more agitated, and they're going to be like, oh, sorry, that's because of this and that. I don't know why their electricity goes off. I mean, you guys aren't paying your bills on time or something like that. And that's all being manipulated. This is how you manipulate people and make them desperate to move them into the global governance.
Water resources are drying up, and the food that they need to eat is just not as available as it used to be.
No, it's just not there anymore.
My government will continue with legislation to update energy infrastructure and to improve the water industry.
Oh, thank you, my girl. Oh, thank you, my queen. Thank you, Your Majesty. All right, so she's got us covered on that too. Good. Okay, I thought they were gonna have water shortages and fuel shortages and energy shortages. So, as long as the queen's got us. Thank you, Your Majesty, my queen. Thank you.
Hanan Ragab says before...
Long may she rule over us. Yes, thank you.
Hanan Ragab says before former President Mohamed Morsi was ousted, the power was always going off.
The electricity was being cut 3 times a day. I couldn't make any food. The house was totally dark. We had to buy takeaway.
But since June 30, she's had power all day, every day.
All right, so we had to order in Chinese or something, supposedly, when Morsi was in power. But now that the military's taken over, everything's much better now. Thank God. That's why I have a flirtatious passion for the military. And they're going to, and you know what? I'll just put aside, I'll just forget, to sweep it under the carpet that they were killing us in the street. And then we originally started the revolution against a Mubarak military dictatorship regime. But you know what? It's all good now, as long as I get my electric back, and the military's really working this thing out for us. And we got Hezem Beblawi in there to steal my pension. So, and the Queen's got she's got the overseas territories and the water infrastructure. She got that all in check for you. So, it's a wrap. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
You have to pursue privatization of public services, and this includes water, privatization of water.
Okay, good. So let's privatize the water and get the show on the road.
They want to enslave all Arabs.
You know damn well that America does not want to enslave all Arabs. Just the ones who have oil.
Okay.
The rapid and growing exploitation of the world's supply of energy and water is a matter of deep concern.
Okay, so David Rockefeller's like, the world supply of energy and water is a matter of deep concern to him. Yeah, so he's very concerned about the people of the world and make sure their water and energy. You know, David Rockefeller always has good intentions. He's not a murdering criminal. No, he's not. And he's not his son or the grandson of a snake oil salesman. Of course not, or the great grandson. No. He's in your best interest. He just said, he's very concerned about your energy and your water.
The rapid and growing exploitation of the world's supply of energy and water is a matter of deep concern.
Oh, cool.
Electricity isn't the only area where people have noticed a big change. This was the scene in Cairo a few days before the rallies against Morsi started. Long queues at petrol stations. The government said people were panic buying. Now the traffic is flowing, and there's no shortage of petrol.
Oh, see, God, thanks. That's why I'm flirting with the military and with this love affair, because everything's so much better now that we have a military dictatorship. It's so much better than democracy and elections and elected representative government. You know, what were we thinking?
And we have fuel problems, and you see electricity cuts.
Yeah, just because we had fuel problems and electricity cuts, but you know what? Now the military's in charge and we have a military dictatorship. We're much better off now.
Oh my God, the power's out.
What are we gonna do now?
Well, we could light some candles and read.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, read the inside of my butt.
Okay, is American intellectualism for you.
I must ask you not to speak like that, sir. British and Arab interests are one and the same. Possibly. Ha! Ha!
Omar Sharif wasn't buying that one. He's like, ha! British and Arab interests are one and the same. The Queen is overseeing the territory. Please.
The Commonwealth is a family of 53 nations, all with a common bond, shared beliefs, mutual values and goals.
Oh yes,
it's good to be the king.
We're just a big happy family. Here's old Pharaoh from Ten Commandments.
Let my people go. The slaves are mine. Their lives are mine. All that they own is mine.
Slaves are mine. Their lives are mine. And all they own is mine. And that's a Pharaoh.
The Commonwealth is a family of 53 nations, all with a common bond, shared beliefs, mutual values and goals.
Right. There you go. We're a big happy family. The slaves, us and the slaves are,
Let my people go. The slaves are mine. Their lives are mine. All that they own is mine.
No, Your Majesty, this is a very serious problem. The peasants feel you have no regard for them.
What? I have no regard for the peasants. They are my people. I am their sovereign. I love them. Pull! Drifting to the left.
Your Majesty, the situation is worsening. The peasants may grow violent.
Violent, yes, stink. I hate violence. It's the one thing I detest. Violence. I abhor it. Pull! fell like a stone.
They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all.
Are men the property of the state, or are they free souls under God? This same battle continues throughout the world today.
Yep, and that was Cecil B. DeMille in the pre-log to the to Ten Commandments, where he's like that are men property of the state, or are they free? And he said that's a battle being waged today, and that was 1956. So now it's 2013, still being waged, and that is still an issue today.
Shut up, slave!
There you go, my favorite little girl.
We should be under no illusions. The Egyptian military may have differences within its ranks, but ultimately it toes the line. It takes its orders from Washington, D.C. And if they have taken this position of intervening and demoting a duly elected government, they have done it with the green light from the Pentagon.
You know what else I hate about America? New Mexico. Like we need another one of those.
Yeah, really?
What we must understand, from 91 to the present, over a 20-year period, the Egyptian economy has been destabilized, the Nile Valley breadbasket has been destroyed, 3,000 years of self-sufficient agriculture. Food prices have risen, unemployment has gone sky high, the industrial fabric of a relatively self-reliant economy has been destroyed.
Okay, and that one has a lot of similarities to the American situation, folks. The industrial fabric of the nation has been destroyed. The breadbasket, so to speak, has been destroyed. The unemployment is escalating and rampant. That's how the global government banking cabal is. That's the plan for all of us. Okay, for all of you, and it's happening all over Europe. It's happening in Egypt now. It's happened in. They did that. They did them in Argentina. They got many of those countries under wraps already, all paying their taxes to the global government for debts they don't owe, and now we're doing it, and they're doing it here, and they're doing it in Egypt, and that I thought that clip had a lot of similarities to the destabilization of the United States as well. We're of course the biggest crown jewel of the global government, but we're well underway, and we're distracted, jerking around with our iPhones and Justin Bieber, while this is all on full steam ahead, full throttle, and seemingly unencumbered.
What we must understand, from 91 to the present, over a 20-year period, the Egyptian economy has been destabilized, the Nile Valley breadbasket has been destroyed, 3,000 years of self-sufficient agriculture. Food prices have risen, unemployment has gone sky high, the industrial fabric of a relatively self-reliant economy has been destroyed.
They don't just go in to resolve crisis. It seems to be, like devils speak as always, they go in there and they actually help to get the crisis going with soft power. And I've been through articles a year ago on what soft power is from the United Nations, and from the reports put out by the US military and the reports put out by the Council on Foreign Relations. They actually refer to the armies, the massive armies of non-governmental organizations as soft power, and they fund them to take off to different countries to help start off what appears to be a popular uprising, a revolution, to get a new system in.
Right, so they set up what appears to be a popular uprising revolution to get a new system in. Okay, that's how it's working, and these people are fomenting the crisis themselves. And when I say who's these people? The shadow behind-the-scenes workers of the CFR, the Trilateral Commission, United Nations, and the global banking cabal, all in the same.
You're not dealing with morons here.
No, by no means are we dealing with morons here. No. These are people, everybody's well in touch and in tune with this.
I mean, the template here is for opposition in the streets to ultimately force the military's hands to change the path of democracy.
Okay, so here the people are going to force the military to change the path of democracy. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but that's lying, complicit media jerk off David Gregory from Meet the Press. So he's like, so now the people are going to protest to get the military to change a path of, they're going to change a path of democracy here, all right? And now this whole segment is going to be, this is a very important segment of the show where they're going to where you can have very top level people, including Richard Haas, who's the president of the CFR and who's total, and he talks like he's in charge of everything. He talks like we're going to do this and this. He as far as I know, he's not in any political position except for a president of a think tank that's a membership only think tank, but created by the Rockefellers and Brzezinski and Kissinger, but he anyway. Richard Haas, and he with his speech impediment talks like he's going to like we're doing this and this and this, and like he already decided that, and he doesn't have to answer to anybody. And so what they're going to do in this segment is going to tell you that the new democracy is liberal. The new liberal Democrats is a totalitarian Nazi. Okay, the new liberal Democrats. We don't need elections. That's liberal. This is liberal now. We're liberal. We don't need elections. Elections are messy. Elections, you get the wrong people in there. You saw what happened with Morsi in a fake election that we staged in Egypt, but we're going to use that as an example for why it doesn't work. And elections don't really work anymore. It's, we need a military to appoint global government apparatchik criminal cheaters, stealers, thieves, okay, to steal your pensions and to fuck over all the people in your country. That's the new democracy. That's liberal, okay? That's kumbaya, okay? That's what we do here. We're going to put on our Birkenstocks. We're going to go out there because we're Northeast liberal, open-minded intellectuals, okay? And we're just going to, I think the new liberal democracy is unelected dictatorship. That's what's up now.
If you look at what the Bush administration really got wrong with the freedom agenda is that
the Bush administration and the freedom agenda, and so you're liberal Democrat, you hear Bush, blah blah Bush. No, I'm against it. I'm with you on this one, buddy. No matter what you say now. And he's like, and the Bush, and I'm unaware of a freedom agenda, okay, because I'm not sure. So Bush was really looking after our freedom, I guess, is what they're trying to say on this one. Okay, on this one, I'll let it play. Sorry to go on and on, but this is the Wall Street Journal guy. I forgot his name. He's a big mouth at the Wall Street Journal, and he's going to tell you he's going to be part of telling you that the new liberal Democrat is unelected dictatorship. And I'm going to play you a series of clips where they all say it, and it's disgusting and it's ridiculous. Okay, but they're going to tell you enough times where you're going to believe it. Here you go.
If you look at what the Bush administration really got wrong with the freedom agenda is that it insisted on putting process before substance. It insisted on going to Gaza or Iraq or Egypt and saying, let's have an election first. What they weren't doing was really working on what is a kind of creating a liberal society, making elections the end point of a liberalization process rather than the beginning. Because what you get when you put it at the beginning is precisely what you described all those years ago. You get illiberal democracy. You get people who are willing to vote for parties that don't share those bedrock liberal values as we know them either in the West or in places like Japan and South Korea.
Elections are, we need to hold off on elections, okay? That's the liberal, we need liberal democracy here. It's not elections.
Right. I mean, look, the simple truth of the matter is that this was the events of last week are a victory for progressivism in a kind of way and a defeat for democracy.
Okay, you're progressive. That means you're down, okay? I'm liberal Democrat, I'm progressive, okay? So it was defeat for democracy, but if you're progressive, you win. In other words, no more election. There's no more elections and freedom and democracy. But you're progressive. That's the new progressive. That's the new progressivism.
We should avoid, if you will, being quote unquote so principled.
We should avoid being principled, Richard Haas. Okay, we should avoid being principled, and we don't need elections. That's we don't ride on your principles, man. Let's avoid that, okay? Let's avoid our principles and setbacks, and we got to accept the setbacks of no elections and totalitarian dictatorship. That's let's not be so principled.
We should avoid, if you will, being quote unquote so principled that if we see setbacks to democracy, that our relationship we toss it over the edge.
Yeah, let's just because we don't have any elections anymore. It's a little bit dictatorial, and let's not avoid. Just don't stick on your print. Don't be so principled all the time, okay? Okay, Mr. Haas. Okay, Richard Haas.
That there's more to a liberal democracy or a liberal society than simply having an election, and this protest movement resulting in basically a military government does have a kind of legitimacy of its own because.
Okay, so we should, this is not, liberal democracy is not elections, and let's face it, this military dictatorship has a legitimacy of its own, that's the new liberal. The military dictatorship is the new liberal, and how they could tell you that with a straight face, I don't know, and how you could even not notice that, which I guarantee 99.9% of the people are like, yeah, I'm liberal. You're right. What do we need all these elections? Fuck these elections, man. That's not liberal democracy. That's not freedom.
It was majoritarian, it was not inclusive, it was not pluralistic, and that was eating away at the core of what we call democracy.
Right, it was majoritarian, What do you think, is you win an election by a majority vote count? That's eating away at the core of democracy, man. That's majoritarian. We don't need a majority wins an election. No, that's eating away. That's not democracy. Democracy is unelected, no elections, no majority, no majority of the people. No, that's not democracy. What are you talking about? That's and Andrea Mitchell isn't a lying yes person for the global government? No, of course not.
And there's also this.
She's not married to Alan Greenspan. I think she is. Check that one, Andrea Mitchell. I think she's married to Alan Greenspan. No, I'm not married to a guy who stole everybody's money. No, of course not.
And there's also this obsession with democracy, with process. Now, democracy is important. But there are times when democracy is not the most important thing.
Right, this is obsession. What's this obsession with democracies and freedom, man? It's not always the most important thing.
And when you have what is arguably the world's largest political demonstration ever, anywhere, take place, you don't focus on democracy so much.
No, what are we focusing? No, just because why? Just because they're protesting for freedom and a say in a representative government? No, that's not. There's a time and place for freedom and democracy. Okay, right now we're talking. You shut up, slave. It's a military dictatorship. Okay, and you're going to flirtatiously embrace it passionately.
And there's also this obsession with democracy, with process. Now, democracy is important, but there are times when democracy is not the most important thing. And when you have what is arguably the world's largest political demonstration ever, anywhere, take place, you don't focus on democracy so much.
No.
And you've heard the president hint at this. Elections are not enough for democracy.
You heard the president hinted at it. That's Chuck Todd, the president's spokesperson, guy at NBC. He's like, hey, the president hinted at it, whatever that means. That, this democracy thing is, come on, guys.
And you've heard the president hint at this. Elections are not enough for democracy.
Right, the president already told you, Obama, and if Obama tells you that it must be true, then Obama already told you that elections and democracy are not, aren't necessarily go hand in hand. Please, are you kidding me? What do you think this? There's no elections in a democracy. This is the new liberal democracy. This is called totalitarian military dictatorship democracy, freedom.
They try to rule in a majoritarian fashion, not really a liberal democratic one.
They tried to rule you by winning an election. What the hell is that supposed to? What the hell is that? I mean, and by no means am I a supporter of a fake Muslim front group that's fronting for Western intelligence. But you know what? But you know, what do you think these people think? They win an election and that's good and that's democracy? No, by a majority vote? No, it's majoritarian.
The problem is, elections in today's world confer a kind of unique and almost unsubstitutable legitimacy. That is, so you go into Iraq and you say, you know, we want to create a liberal order.
Elections create a legitimate, a unique, and he's implying a false legitimacy. You know, elections aren't necessarily legitimate. You know, don't imply legitimacy, especially if they're honest elections. You know, that's not, you know, it's not exactly democracy. You know, we're better off circumventing elections and we'll get our good people we want in there. Okay, as long as you're a liberal Democrat, you know, we don't need elections. We just need to put in a liberal Democrat who's going to fight for the rights of the people. You know, and I'll just, and the military dictator will decide that for you, and then everything should work out fine for you. And that was Fareed Zakaria, who's a total he's the worst. And that guy's the most anti-American, anti-constitutional, anti-democracy, anti-everything scumbag you'll ever see. From good old CNN, Fareed, I don't know how, and he's of course a member of the Council of Foreign Relations, but what a lying jerk this guy is.
The problem is, elections in today's world confer a kind of unique and almost unsubstitutable legitimacy. That is, so you go into Iraq and you say, you know, we want to create a liberal order.
We want to create a liberal order, a liberal New World Order. Yeah, go into Iraq, whatever that means. Anyway, Fareed Zakaria.
I don't like your jerk-off name. I don't like your jerk-off face. I don't like your jerk-off behavior. And I don't like you. Jerk-off.
One of the big lessons here is that free and fair elections, as this was deemed by all outside observers, including the United States, does not mean democracy.
Free and fair elections does not mean democracy. That's called Orwellian doublespeak. No, and freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength, and war is peace. And free and fair elections is not democracy. Who told you that? Well, that's not the new. No, this is the new democracy. Okay.
That's why we call it democracy, not electocracy.
Right. See, it's not elections. Has nothing to do with democracy. It's not a democracy. It's electocracy. It's not electocracy. This is democracy. Democracy, and you know, and the new democracy is totalitarian dictatorship of the military.
We have to break this whole lockhold of anti-democratic structures that have been built up by the elites under neoliberal policies over the last 20 years.
Okay, so that guy was on point, and he said, "We got to break this nonsense about that democracy is you know we don't need elections anymore in democracy, but we're obviously going in the very opposite direction." When top level people are all telling you we don't need elections, come on, no, that's not the time and place for democracy and elections, folks. Okay, right now we need to let the military sort things out for us. I know they killed us in the streets and we protested 1 million people in the streets against them, but don't worry about that right now.
U.S. officials I talked to, Andrea, confident in the military, confident that they'll give power back right away, that this could actually turn out well, more in America's favor.
I think it's hope more than confidence.
He's like, are they confident that the military is going to turn over power? She's like, well, they're hoping for the best, you know. And thanks, NBC. You guys are really, representing the American people and keeping them honest.
At last, this country can finally bask in the sunshine of a true democracy, a land where no man is better than the next, and there's equal opportunity for all, and respect for law and order.
Right now, I am the law.
Yes, but soon we'll hold free elections, let the people choose their own leaders, and you can voluntarily step down and return to your simple farming, and what's the matter, you look glassy-eyed.
These people are peasants. They are too ignorant to vote.
Yes, I know, but they have common sense.
I am the ruler of this country. There will be no elections until I decree it.
There you go.
To learn how to, if you will, play the democratic process in all of its dimensions. And what we have to hope is that the military is both willing and able to help, to some extent, steer this.
Okay, so let's let the military steer the democratic process. Thank you, Richard Haas. That sounds very real, that was not Orwellian doublespeak. No, let's let the military dictatorship steer the democratic freedom, steer your freedom. We'll steer that, steer you right over the cliff into freedom. There you go. And here's another Star Wars Family Guy clip.
Hey, mind if I turn on the radio?
WTAT, Tatooine's All Talk Radio.
My good friends, the liberal galactic media is at it again. They never stop. Now they're trying to convince us that Hoth is melting. Well, that's crazy. Just trying to scare us. And if that weren't enough to get you mad, we now have news that Lando Calrissian has been made the chief administrator of the Bespin mining facility. Gee, I wonder how he got that job. Well, let me tell you how he got that job. Affirmative action strikes again. Time is 8:50.
Right, so then we'll have the anti-liberal pundit go out to that, and then everybody will be mad at him, and then you'll forget that that you were just told by Richard Haas that you're in that military dictatorship is a new liberal democracy, and so and then just run you right around, and then you'll be so mad at Rush Limbaugh that you'll be like, no, listen, you'll be yelling at people like, we don't need democracy right now, we need this dictatorship because I'm liberal, because you be totally brainwashed into saying, I can picture you at a cocktail party, somebody yelling at me about that. I'm like, what's wrong? And then I'll be like, okay, you been watching TV too much again, buddy, or miss? There you go. And that somebody's gonna yell at me like that. What are you talking about? We don't need these elections right now, Max. I'm like, yeah, okay, genius. Go back and watch some more TV.
Another social illusion, social engineering project to change the minds and the attitudes and the beliefs of the people of the world, and especially the United States, to bring about one world socialist totalitarian government.
What, in your opinion, do these people hope to gain from this war?
They hope to gain their freedom. Freedom.
They hope to gain their freedom. There's one born every minute.
There you go. Lawrence Arabia's like, oh yeah, we're doing this we're helping them out with their freedom over here. And the news reporter's like, who's actually might have been like back in the day when they might have had somebody who had a conscience. He's like, oh yeah, this is one of the sucker born every minute. Yeah, you told them that? You told them they're getting their freedom for all this garbage that you're putting them through? Great. And then, and here's the American attitude about revolution.
Just how long will it be before I can go back to New York?
After we win the revolution, we are free.
And when is the revolution?
6 months.
6 months? I got a rented car.
Exactly. I got other things to worry about. Okay, so now I'm going to get into, here's whatever, any type of stupid media manipulation, along with actual population manipulations. You're going to have a false debate about something, okay? We're going to have a false debate about whether Kerry should have make phone calls from his boat or not, and then we should have a false debate on whether the military is democracy, and or whether elections is not undemocratic now, and the new liberal democracy is no elections, and the military dictatorship steering us into freedom, and so now here's a stupid false debate like, is it a coup or is it not a coup? Is he a hero or a traitor? It's all the same stupid garbage. And here's the little section. I'm gonna play this one on automatic and just run you through all the stupid, is it a coup or is it not a coup clips. And we're coming down the backstretch of the Max Ride News, the Deconstruction Zone and the Egypt show. But we still got a little bit ways to go. But here's your false debate about coup. Is it a coup or not a coup? Here on the Max Ride Deconstruction Zone.
During a press conference, White House spokesperson Jay Carney struggled to explain how Washington could avoid calling the ouster of Morsi a coup.
This is a complex situation, and it is not in our interests to move unnecessarily quickly in making a determination like that, because we need to be mindful of our objective here, which is to assist the Egyptian people in their transition to democracy.
Oh, you're assisting the Egyptian people a lot.
And to remain faithful to our national security interests.
You're in this weird situation of sort of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, where we're saying a coup is not a coup.
There's nothing in the law that says some coups are better than other coups, but that's basically what the message you're getting in an elliptical way from the White House is, which is, I mean, technically speaking, you could call it a coup, but
after this coup, which was not a coup.
That's what commentators are saying here, which was this is a military coup. If this is labelled as a coup...
Everybody's saying that this is a military coup. By no means is it a military coup. It's a revolution.
I would say technically, of course, this was a coup.
The fact is, a coup is a coup is a coup is a coup.
Dr. Hamid, is it a coup?
No.
What happened in Egypt, a coup?
By definition, when the duly elected, democratically elected president is ousted by the military, that's a coup. But apparently not to the White House.
No matter how much the CNN...
Right, apparently not to the White House. You see, Fox always has to throw in an Obama bash in there. And as you know, I don't think very highly of Obama myself, but Fox's viewers insist upon bashing Obama for everything, which is a way that you can tune yourself out to the issue. Okay, it's just like, so he's like, is it a coup or not a coup? And he's like, it's obviously a coup, except for the Obama administration doesn't necessarily think so.
By definition, when the duly elected, democratically elected president is ousted by the military, that's a coup. But apparently not to the White House.
No matter how much the CNN is depicting this like a military coup.
We're in permanent liaison with the architects of the coup.
You'd be hard-pressed to find any independent observer who doesn't consider it a coup.
Do you call it a coup or do you call it an uprising?
So is it a coup or not a coup? We'll discuss next on the line.
So that's a clear sign that this was a military coup.
So for me, yes, it's a coup. It's a specifically Egyptian coup, but let's call the coup a coup.
Mr. Limbaugh, a coup is when rebels join forces with the military and start launching military attacks and shooting people. No, not always.
Third time I've said that. I'll probably say it 3 more times. See, in my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
Yeah, no, that's, Bush is telling you how it works. You just keep saying cuckoo, get cuckoo, drive you cuckoo, choo, it's people love, and don't kid yourself, they love that little word, coo, because it's just, people like, oh, the P is silent. Got you distracted with that, too. Yeah, so coming down the backstretch here on the Egypt show, I'm going to begin to summarize things and wrap things up, but there's got a little bit more about, I'm going to show you where they tie, of course, not only are Egyptians gang rapers, but they're also terrorists, of course they're in with, of course, about the fake Al-Qaeda that they're in with now, too? Well, we're going to hear about that, too. Interesting.
In general, a word from you, if you will, sir, for our viewers.
For many years, I have waited for this day, but now I am the state.
You may say that, sir, but many important diplomats contend that you remain the most hated man in the state.
I will shut down the newspapers. I will train my soldiers. We'll find the rebels.
The rebels may be in the form of democratic guerrilla factions off in the hills.
Hey, what'd you end up doing with that dog we kidnapped?
I killed it and ate it! Yeah!
Rebels!
Yeah, rebels! Yeah!
It is said that the people are revolting. You said it. They stink on ice.
The only terror I've seen is the government's people on their own people, because I don't see any terrorists around. But it's a reign of terror. I don't call it the war on terror. I call it the reign of terror. They always have a reign of terror when they want to quickly adjust society into a new system.
They always have a reign of terror when they quickly adjust society into a new system. Yeah, so that's where you're going to get your terror. And Alan Watt is like, I haven't seen any terrorists, have you? Pretty much the only terrorists I've seen are our governments against their own people, and it's not a war on terror; it's a reign of terror. I would actually agree 100% with that, Mr. Watt.
The only terror I've seen is the government's people on their own people, because I don't see any terrorists around. But it's a reign of terror. I don't call it the war on terror. I call it the reign of terror. They always have a reign of terror when they want to quickly adjust society into a new system.
My government will work to prevent conflict and reduce terrorism. It will support countries in transition in the Middle East and North Africa.
Okay, she's going to support countries in transition in the Middle East and North Africa. That's funny. Egypt's in the Middle East, North Africa, so to speak. And I guess she's going to be supporting countries in transition. My queen. Thank you, my queen. Again, you know what? It's always good to know the queen's got your back, man. You know, she's got the slaves back. Yep.
But if you look at the history of the Muslim Brotherhood, the intellectual fathers coming out of the Brotherhood of Al-Qaeda, what does this portend if they conclude, as I suggested in my question, that democracy is not for them?
Okay, democracy's not for them, not for they just got elected in an election. That's not democracy. And the Muslim, you know, the fathers of Al Qaeda came out of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's news to me. And considering there is no such thing as Al Qaeda, and that's fake and made up, and so is the Muslim Brotherhood, I guess that makes that's how you can correlate them together. Is by, well, if one thing's made up, then I guess they're all made up out of the other. They all came out of the same thing, all right. They all came out of the same stupid script writers in the same office that writes this garbage for liars like David Gregory. He's a complete jerk off. We'll tell you. So we got a lot of terrorists now. So not only they're gang raping terrorists over in Egypt. Now that's what the revolutionaries like.
They've asked us to come to this mosque here in East Cairo. We're told Mr. Morsi's son is here. Inside, we met Morsi's defiant 30-year-old son, Osama.
Okay, Morsi's son is named Osama. Isn't that convenient and interesting? Okay, and you're like, oh, Max, why would you say that the Muslim Brotherhood is a front group, is a made up, stupid, puppet garbage to manipulate your pea brain? And but no, Morsi. That was just a popular name back in the day. So Morsi's like, I think I'll name my son Osama. Okay, and it's coming from TV, so I guess it must be legitimate.
They've asked us to come to this mosque here in East Cairo. We're told Mr. Morsi's son is here. Inside, we met Morsi's defiant 30-year-old son, Osama.
Okay, he's defiant, and he's 30, and he's Osama. And his name is Osama Morsi. And now we're going to hear a guy from NBC, this total idiot, Michael Smerconish, okay, and he's going to tell you how, the reason that we couldn't find bin Laden was because he had some very sophisticated techniques for cloaking himself in secrecy, and that's why we couldn't catch him, because he shaved his beard and wears a cowboy hat, so you can't see him, and okay. So anyway, this is what NBC decided to put put out a story on it, and have a grown adult tell you this, and I guess they must think you're such an absolute moron that you'll believe it. Okay, so anyway, good old Osama bin Laden, he's been hiding from he was hiding in Pakistan for 10 years, and you want to hear how he did it? Very, very slick, this Osama bin Laden. Let's see, and you know what? And I'm glad that that NBC uncovered this information.
Exposed by journalists at Al Jazeera, it also gives us a fascinating account of how bin Laden lived in secret for all those years.
Fascinating account. You want to see how fascinating? How did he live in secret for all those years? Let's see. Please tell me, Michael Smerconish.
For instance, to avoid detection, he at one point shaved off his world-famous beard.
He shaved off to avoid detection. Oh, you see, he's like, I'll shave my beard off. They'll never know it's me. Okay, that's it's fascinating.
He bought his compound using a fake national ID card, and occupants paid no taxes.
Okay, so, wow, he bought his complex with a fake ID. Genius. That's fascinating. What a brilliant way to elude the largest intelligent apparatus on Earth. Genius. And that's the guy who killed Americans, and how did he get away with it? And the CIA guys are like, he shaved his beard. I knew that looked familiar.
When venturing outside, he liked to wear a wide-brimmed cowboy hat to avoid aerial detection.
Oh, that's how he avoided the satellite detection from the cow. He had a big brim cowboy hat on. What, this guy? That's fascinating information from NBC. Thanks. Really, and you know what? I'm not a moron. No, of course not. No, I'm not a complete idiot to believe that. No, that sounds totally reasonable to me. And you know, and then he probably had secret meetings with Osama Morsi, Morsi's son. You know, his defiant son, man. And you know, the old cowboy hat, man. The CIA guy's like, damn it, I knew that cowboy hat looked suspicious. I knew that, and his beard, but he didn't have his beard, and he had a fake ID. I guess I didn't really, you know, he should have been sharper. It's only, you know, 10 years went by before he could figure that, you know, this guy's cloaked in secrecy. Really. We're just proud to be an American, man.
All right, lads, now that we're in the air, I can tell you our top secret objective. Osama bin Laden.
But sir, they already got bin Laden in Pakistan.
Silly Smith, silly goose. That was just something we faked to make the president look good.
We faked that Osama bin Laden thing.
3 Palestinians were arrested this morning in Egypt after a terrorist-style attack there killed a police officer and injured a soldier in an armored vehicle.
Okay, a terror-style attack, and now Palestinians, they don't have their own problems. They're going to do terror in Egypt for whatever reason. Okay, and you know that's because that's how much terror availability Palestinians have. And it's not a terror attack; it's a terror-style attack. It's kind of like like those kosher style restaurant, except it's not kosher, just kosher style. And whatever that means. Okay, and what's the terror style? Okay, now and not only that, we killed a soldier in armored vehicle with that, okay, with Palestinian, just a rogue Palestinian terrorist. He's just looking to do terror in Egypt. He doesn't give a shit. And you know what? And they caught him, and he was doing terror style. It was kind of like a trendy terror style. It's kind of like a nouvelle terror, nouvelle terror cuisine. There you go. It's a great new style that they have here. And, yeah.
Say anything they want, you say, and you'll follow it, because we are the docile masses. We're the puppet people. Oh, put it on our TV, it's true. Put it on our TV, it's true. We're the puppet people.
Here you go, and here's good old Glenn Beck again with some... Oh, here's a newswire. Glenn Beck with some very important Egypt information. Here we go. Just tell him, Glenn.
Human Rights Watch reports a sharp rise in sexual assaults since anti-Morsi protesters took to the streets in record numbers.
There were just 100 this last week. Only 100.
But it was only 100 rapes.
Yeah, just 100 in a week.
A full week. Though.
Well, it wasn't a short week.
You know what you're leaving out here is most of them were gang rapes.
Most of them are gang rapes. Okay, thanks, Glenn. And so that even though it's 100 rapes, but it's really more than 100 because those are gang rapes. You know, yeah. There's just a bunch of hundreds. Most of them. There's most rape in Egypt is in Tahrir Square for an hour, and it's gang rape. Okay, it's rape style, gang rape style. Okay, and that's Glenn Beck with some very important information coming in on the wire from Egypt.
You're not dealing with morons here.
No, of course not. Of course not. Who would ever think that? Who would think that?
One woman said they made a very tight circle around me. They started moving their hands all over my body. They touched every inch of my body. They violated every inch of my body. I was so much traumatized. I was only screaming at the time. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't cry from help. I was just screaming.
I was just screaming, and I was attacked, and they surrounded me, and thanks. That was one woman's account. One woman. Okay, and they were doing that. They were just gang raping women in Tahrir Square in the open. And you know what? If you walk by and you just pull excuse me for the crudeness, but you pull your dick out and gang rape her. Yeah, why not? You know, so there's plenty of time for protesting. For freedom. Yeah, in between gang rapes, they protest against for freedom and then we'll let the military take over, even though they were killing us in the streets too. But it's all good. Everything's going. Oh yeah, this real revolution's going real good. Oh yeah.
I think all our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. And I think that's what I sussed when I was 16, and 12 way down the line, but I expressed it differently all through my life. It's the same thing I'm expressing all the time, but now I can put it into that sentence that I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends, you know. If anybody can put on paper what our government and the American government, etc., and the Russian, Chinese, what they are actually trying to do, you know, and what they think they're doing, I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane, you know, but I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. You know, that's what's insane about it.
Okay, the only small issue I might have with that is that John Lennon says that what are the Chinese, Russians, and Americans and British trying to do, and he isn't. I'm not sure if he specifies that they're all being run by the same office. Okay, so they're all being run by the shadow global government, Rockefeller, Queen of England cabal. Okay, and global banking cabal. So that's why they're all you know, seemingly working and seemingly all maniacs, and because they're all run by insane maniacs. No, but Glenn Beck's not an insane maniac. No, of course not. Why would anybody think that? Okay, so now let's talk. Let's see. Okay, here's Andrea Mitchell. A very interesting little clip. Again, I think she's Greenspan's wife, and she's going to tell you, like, well, the mother is the United States. I don't know what kind of weird, twisted Twilight Zone type of comment this is, but here we go.
He was told when he refused to bring more people into his government that Mother says this will not continue. Mother being the United States.
Okay, Mother said this will not. He was Morsi was told that Mother said it's not continue. Mother is the United States. I don't know. So I guess according to Andrea Mitchell, Morsi referred to the United States as his mother. Okay, now moving on and coming down the backstretch of this show, I'm going to get into a little bit of a police state thing, and then I'm going to discuss at the end of the show about how I believe, along with Gandhi and Martin Luther King, that the only way to resist oppression and ultimately regain your freedom is by nonviolent resistance. Period. Okay, any type of violence is playing into and getting baited into violence, or getting duped into violence, or being told that violence exists, or participating in any violence at all, is all playing into the hands of the establishment and the power structure as it is, because that's how they operate. Okay, that violence is playing into their hands. I will state my case on that, but I think that's very important. Okay, that people understand that, because when we have our collapse, ultimate collapse, which is coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting some ugly stuff going down in September, October in the financial sector, but it won't be an Armageddon, but we're gonna start taking more legs down, and there's gonna be some unrest and some protests in the street, and what they try to do is try to get you to stick your neck out and do something stupid and violent, or be participating in some sort of violence, and you're going to be egged on into it, or duped into it, and then that's going to be an excuse for even more military, more police state, and more lockdown, and that's going to play right into the hands of the people who want to lock your stupid ass down anyway. So keep that in mind, that when this stuff does go down, we have to be prepared to have an intelligent plan to resist this very ugly oppression that's coming our way. And I think it's going to be best to let's face it, the people who are telling you to protest nonviolently are the ones who are all dead. Okay, Gandhi was assassinated. King was assassinated, John Lennon was assassinated. All of them are going to tell you to resist nonviolently. All of them are dead or were assassinated by the criminal oligarchs. And that's because they're telling you they need to silence that message, okay? Because that's the message that beats them. Get it? And let's just go from there. Here's Jen Psaki again, the State Department spokesperson, saying some twisted stuff. Keep it going.
Continue to call for, and we continue to convey for the fair treatment and the good treatment of those who are detained.
Okay, so the State Department is like, we don't think you should not arrest people who were elected in an election, and for no reason they're arrested because we're gonna just treat them good. We're all for treating fair treatment of the detained, even though not let them go, just fair treatment, just treat them fair. Okay, just what does Her Majesty think about that?
My government will continue to reduce crime and protect national security. Legislation will be introduced to reform the way in which offenders are rehabilitated in England and Wales. Legislation will be brought forward to introduce new powers to tackle antisocial behaviour, cut crime, and further reform the police.
Okay, so we're going to get new powers to deal with antisocial behavior. Okay, thank you, my queen. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'm looking forward to that.
What kind of government you guys got here? This is worse than California.
Lord Prince, this man speaks treason.
It is not treason to want freedom.
No.
I think the military is the most possibly destructive force to Egyptian politics. It is the most brutal force. It has the biggest economic interests to defend. And we're seeing them very successfully at the moment reassert themselves, use this wave of popular anger against Morsi to try and clamp down on any kind of dissent.
There you go. There's a duplicitous comment which actually makes the military is now clamping down. That was from the same guy from Democracy Now! Is telling you that the military is manufacturing macaroni, but now he's saying they're clamping down on any dissent. Yeah, well, that's you got to shut up, slave, and do what's right, do what we need to do. This is a new liberal. We're liberal and free, and we're democratic. So let me shut up and lock down, clamp down on your slave ass. Okay, so. As we get down this backstretch, I have this little non-violence segment. I'm gonna let it run again and just play a bunch of clips through, and hope you'll get the gist of it without me interrupting and interjecting every second. So let's rock the. This is about what I think some very prophetic and very bright people who and legendary people who are all going to tell you about how to resist nonviolently, and I think that this should be taken heed to these suggestions. I'm 100% behind this type of ideas as well. Keep it going from there.
What we've done is highly illegal, Miles, and if we get caught, we'll be destroyed, along with you.
What do you mean destroyed? What do you mean destroyed?
Your brain will be electronically simplified.
My brain? It's my second favorite organ.
Resistors to mind reprogramming will be exterminated for the good of the state.
Go to your homes, stay in your home, and lock your doors. Above all, do not panic. Repeat, go to your homes, stay in your homes, and lock your doors. The situation can be kept under control provided our defense forces are given complete freedom of movement.
And that's a little reminiscent of the Boston bombing. Boston, after just lock everybody in the homes, and while we roam the streets and to get the terrorists for you.
Resistors to mind reprogramming will be exterminated for the good of the state.
There will be violence. Sure, will be violence. I think it's no other solution. Do you think there is another solution? No. We have sought democracy. What is the outcome? Military coup.
All right, so CNN is going to try to stoke you by having some guy telling you like, oh, we're going to have to deal with violence. We tried democracy and we got a military coup out of that, which is all twisting the issue totally. But and then we're like, we need violence, even though that's a staged interview by an actor. They're going to try to make you think like, oh yeah, that's what we need to do. Fuck this democracy thing.
I think it should apply in every situation in the world where individuals seek to break loose from the bondage of colonialism or from some totalitarian regime or from the system which we confront in America.
You truly believe, then, that nonviolence is the universal answer to injustice and oppression?
Very definitely. Very definitely.
Convinced that nonviolence is the only way to combat violence itself. Gandhi developed the concept of satyagraha, that literally means adhering unflinchingly to the truth. As Gandhi saw it, physical force is only used by weak people. Real strength resides in a person's capacity to express their ideals.
Egypt's political turmoil has again erupted into street violence.
The relative calm of this week ended when supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi fought with police in Cairo.
I feel that non-violence, organized non-violent resistance is the most powerful weapon that oppressed people can use in breaking loose from the bondage of oppression. Now, the other method that one might use is that of resignation or acquiescence. But I think that is just as bad as violence, because non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good.
Very important. Non-cooperation with evil is an obligation, a moral obligation, as much as cooperation with good is. Okay. In other words, if you go along with it, it's not going to do us any good at all.
I think we're likely to see this sort of polarization deepen, and possibly an increased role, and not a diminished role, but an increased role in the Egyptian governance from the military for many years to come.
Dozens of people have been killed in the violence of recent weeks, and there are few signs it's over yet. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera, Cairo.
Truth is never illustrated through the use of violence.
The militant revolutionaries, ask them to show you one revolution that turned out to be what it promised militantly. That's take Russia, France, anywhere they're at it. What they do is they smash the place down, then they build it up again, and the people that build it up hang on to it. And then they become the establishment. Now you guys are going to be the establishment in a few years. It's not worth knocking it down because it's convenient to have the rooms and the machinery. The thing is to protest, but protest non-violently. Because violence begets violence, you know, and if you run around wild, you get smacked, and that's it, you know, that's the laws of the universe. And they've got all the weapons, they've got all the money, and they know how to fight violence because they've been doing it for thousands of years, suppressing us. And the only thing they don't know about is non-violence and humour. And there's many ways of promoting peace. Do everything for peace. Piss for peace, or smile for peace, or go to school for peace, or don't go to school for peace. Whatever you do, just do it for peace. You know? It's up to the people. You can't blame it on the government and say they're doing this, they're going to put us into war. We put them there, and we allow it. You know, and we can change it. If we really want to change it, we can change it.
Non-violent resistance does resist. It is dynamically active. It is passive physically, but it is strongly active spiritually.
In the midst of death, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists. In the midst of darkness, light persists. Hence I gather that God is life, truth, light. He is love. He is the supreme good.
That was Gandhi himself, by the way, and he said, God is life, light, and love, and the supreme good. And a lot of good stuff in that little clip. Gandhi, Mahatma, the man himself.
And man was given dominion over all things upon this earth, and the power to choose between good and evil. But each sought to do his own will, because he knew not the light of God's law. Man took dominion over man. The conquered were made to serve the conqueror. The weak were made to serve the strong. And freedom was gone from the world.
Why, do you believe in God?
Well, I believe that there's somebody out there who watches over us.
Unfortunately, it's the government.
Yeah, and all right, so that's the we're gonna wrap the show up. Let me go through it all for you. I'm down to the last couple clips, and this was the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone talking about Egypt portrait of a world government takeover. I was trying to impress upon you that yes, there are the way these things are set up and planned is that the people start getting agitated because they have no they cut their electric off, they cut their fuel, their gasoline off, they screw with their food supplies and things like that. The people start and they're unemployed, they stole their pensions, they're broke, so they're like, okay, so and this is all to arrange them and prepare them for to be placed into a grid, a full spectrum dominance grid, orchestrated by the global government, United Nations cabal, and so they send in these NGOs, which are extraordinarily well funded, non-governmental organizations, as they call them, which are just like these little think tanks or or foundations, and they fund all these different sides of all the sides and all the angles of every population, and they get them all worked up into a froth. Then they offer them a fake solution, a problem reaction solution. They offer them a stupid solution, like, okay, we're gonna get rid of Mubarak, and we're gonna let you have an election, great, and you're gonna wait 6 months for a year of election, and then we're gonna have a fraudulent election where we're gonna elect a fraudulent puppet of a Western intelligence front group, and tell you that you elected him, and I'm sure people in Egypt are like, I didn't fucking vote for that guy, but nobody did. I don't know anybody who did. Not to say that there aren't Muslim, religious Muslim people who might have, who might lean towards something like that, but that's not what happened anyway. Okay, and everybody agreed that was by no means 50% of the population. So that was all a dupe job. Okay, so then they're gonna say that then the people get when he starts because he's a puppet of Western intelligence, he starts making all kinds of radical changes that everybody gets outraged on, and at the same time they're cutting their electric off again and making them wait in line for gasoline and things like that. So they're going to so then they say, okay, we're going to get the military who's being outright funded by the United States and by the Western cabal again, and the global government cabal who owns all the militaries in all the world. They're going to say, okay, and even though the people who thought of Egypt thought they were protesting against the military dictatorship like they had with Mubarak, now they're going to be like, oh, now we're embracing them with a passionate flirtation. And we're gonna ask the military to get involved in our revolution, which is exactly diametrically opposed to everything that they were protesting for against anyway. But no, don't forget about that. And they were killing us in the streets, so don't worry about that either. And we only were protesting against them last year, but don't worry about that either. We had millions of people in the street protesting against them, but now they're going to handle it for us, which is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. But again, that's how these stupid manipulations and clever manipulations work. And again, then we're going to put in a technocratic, unelected puppet banking cabal jerk off who's going to tell you that you need to borrow money, billions from the IMF. Then nobody will ever see a penny of that money. That'll be given out to private company and corporations that just steal it. Okay, and they're like, oh, let's build. Why don't you guys do something for us? We'll give you a $10 billion, whatever. And so they're going to give away all that money. Then the people, and then say, oh, don't worry, that my people are paying for it. So then they're going to tell the people that, well, it's in the loan agreement if you don't pay that back, even though you couldn't pay it back anyway because you didn't have any money to begin with before you got the loan. So they're going to be like, oh, you guys still owe it to us now. So then, oh, you can't pay it. So now we're going to have to take over. Now we're going to privatize your electric, water, gas, food, everything. So then, you know what? Then you guys are set. You guys are ready to go. Now we can plug, your slaves and you're dependent and you're devastated and your pensions has been stolen. We saw to that with our elected technocrat, like we did. We stole their pensions in Greece and Spain and everybody's unemployed and desperate there too. So we'll just do that to you here. That's the model, and in Argentina years ago, that's the model for the global government takeover. Okay, so and there you have it, a portrait of a global government takeover in Egypt on the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. I'm Max Ratt. I'm going to play a couple more clips and sign off to you. Thanks for coming aboard the show. Keep it going down the stretch.
Oh, good, a shawarma king. I'm starving. Pull over, Stan.
Are you insane? We're not stopping for their food. Next you'll want to use their bathrooms, and I'll be damned if I'm going to use their sandpapery toilet scrolls on my proud American button. America. Fuck yeah!
You know, George Orwell said that if liberty means anything, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear. Now, America is the strongest country in the world today only because it is the freest country. And if it ever loses sight of its basic heritage and the principles involved, then we will no longer be free.
Yeah, we certainly no longer are. We're in a police state already. And, okay, so that's the end of the show. I want to thank you again for coming aboard the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. Thanks for listening to my show. I'm Max Ratt, live from the Rat Hole in New York City on July 19th, 2013. And I'm over and out.
We've been lied to. We've flat out simply been lied to.
If I don't come back, you tell Mother I love her.
Your mother's dead, Llewellyn.
Well, then I'll tell her myself.
And you can always follow me on Twitter